Flat rate expenses and medical expenses are the two most common ways you can get tax back. Flat rate expenses are one of those things that people just don't have a clue about, and it's completely underutilized. A flat rate expense is an allowance given to you depending on the type of work you do, and this helps reduce the tax you owe. In some industries, you're required to purchase tools, uniform, or stationery to carry out your work. And these flat rate expenses are there for you to be able to cover some of those costs. So I'm just going to show you the most common industries. There is a full list on the revenue website. It is 6 pages long. These go up to the year 2022. They haven't updated it for 2023 yet, but whatever. But I'll get to how you can claim this later on in the video. So this is the full list of flat rate expenses on the revenue website, and the most recent year we have is 2022, and for 2023 we can nearly assume that they're the same as this because they have not updated these in years, and I don't know when they plan on doing that as well. So having a quick browse through, I'm just going to point out some of the main ones that always stand out to me every single year. We have some carpentry work here, doctors, driving instructors, loads for engineers, firefighters, and a big one is the hotel industry. So if, for example, you were working or not working during the pandemic and you're out of work on the PUP, there's loads in here that you can claim. So waiters, waitresses, chef, managers, loads in there. So if you have never claimed these, going back to the year 2020, whenever COVID was, you can claim for that year that you were on the PUP, and that will help reduce any tax that you owed on that. Journalists, loads there for mechanics, and a big one is nurses, particularly because you guys would have uniforms that need laundering. Occupational therapists, optometrists, pharmacists, phlebotomists, so the people who take your blood, physiotherapists, plumbers, shop assistants if you're working in a supermarket, speech and language therapists, and a massive one, teachers. You may not know that you can claim one. And this includes school principals, part-time teachers, so subbing, there's loads in there. And there's one actually back up here I missed, cosmetologists. These are the beauty industry. So if you're working in beauticians and you're obliged to supply and launder your own white uniform, I know it's quite specific to a white uniform, but there you go. So how do you claim a flat rate expense? There are two different scenarios. The first one is the past. So from the last 4 years, 2019 up to 2022, if this applies to you and you want to claim it, the first thing you need to do is to check if you've already claimed it. Because what happens with a lot of people is it may have already been claimed and they don't know about it, or they didn't realize it was claimed. So the first thing you're going to do to check if you've already claimed it is pop into your latest statement of liability. It's in your documents folder on your My account. Go in there and look at page 2 of the most recent statement of liability for the year. So look at 2019, 20, 21, 22, and if it applies to you for that year, look and see if flat rate expense is mentioned on page 2. If it is not mentioned, you will need to complete your income tax return for that year and include your flat rate expense. It's going to be in section 4 of that return, and you'll see on my YouTube video I have a full tutorial of how to do that, how to complete your income tax return. Just check it out, the link is in my bio. I'm going to do one quick example to show you if you're somebody that hasn't claimed for the last 4 years and you know it applied to you, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to take the example of a part-time firefighter, and their flat rate expense is €407. And I'm not an expert in that industry, but I do know that a lot of firefighters will be working in other jobs and working as a firefighter part-time on call. So this is a really good example. So they're entitled to 407. So what happens there is it's 407 is allowed to their tax rate band. So then it is 20% of this amount that they can get back. So per year, that's €81.40. And if you've never claimed for the last 4 years, that is €325.60 of tax back you can get. So it is the same principle that applies to all of these flat rate expenses. And obviously you will only be claiming in a year that is applicable to you. So if you change jobs during the year to something completely different, you cannot claim it. So that is the process if you're claiming it for the last 4 years, anything in the past. So the second scenario then is if you're claiming it for the current year of 2023. If you know that this applies to you and your job is definitely listed, you need to apply this flat rate expense to your tax credits. So here's what you need to do. You are going to log into your My account on revenue.ie, and under PAYE services, click on Manage Your Tax 2023. Scroll down and click on Add New Credits. Then in this section, you're going to go to your job and click on show more. And then in here, you're going to see flat rate expenses. Click on select. In this example, I'm just going to pretend that I work in the building industry and I'm an electrician. So you're going to click on builders and related trades and click on next at the bottom of the screen. In here, you're going to see even more specific roles. So I said I'm an electrician, click on that, down to next. And then they're going to show you the relief that's due, €153, and your tax credits will be increased by this. So all you need to do here is click on next. So I've just X'd out of that because I obviously can't be applying it to my own account. But what you need to do is keep clicking on next. It'll ask you to sign in again, and that means you're done. In a couple of days then you're going to get an updated tax credit certificate, and that can be found in my documents for the current year of 2023. This is an example of the tax credit certificate. So when you log in here, you're going to see flat rate expenses listed under tax credits, and you'll also see it down in your tax rate bands down here. So in that case, it would have been the 153 you would see across here. So this is just a different person's tax credit certificate. So in the case of that electrician, I would be 153 would be shown here, and then the lower amount of the 30, I think it was €30.60 will be up here. In English, because you've increased your tax credits, it means that you're going to pay a little less tax for the remainder of this year. Once you have it set up in the current year of 2023, it's going to roll forward for the next couple of years until you stop claiming it. So that's really important. If you have changed jobs and you see that you're still claiming it, but it doesn't apply to the line of work you're in, you need to remove it, because I wouldn't claim it unless it applies to your role. I know there was a lot in this video, but I have covered how to claim it in the past and how to claim it in the future and going forward. So again, if you have any questions, pop them in the comments below. I am happy to help as best I can.